was what the Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development told the Joint Committee of the Senate. We asked them, what do you mean by competition of resources? If there is a commission will be made up of all the various ministries that are critical to the life of people with disabilities, including the Minister of Health, the Minister of Education, the Minister of Sports, the National Planning Commission, the Judiciary, as well as the National Human Rights Commission, among others. What that means is that there is no resources we are going to compete with. All they are going to do is to donate staffs that are going to be part of that commission. So that fear of resource competition is baseless. Acknowledging the fact that the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development concentrates on rehabilitation only. And disability issues is beyond rehabilitation. Their mindset is that disability issues is a charity and medical issue. Therefore, if you must live with disability in Nigeria, all we will address is issue of you need prostheses, you need devices. But you can see what we are talking about from the clip we've just watched. No access to employment, no access to Medicare, no access to education. If you ask Dare to explain to you how he passed through his education up to degree level, you will cry. Because to train a single individual with disability in Nigeria costs much more than a person without disability. So we are saying that we need a law that will protect us from discrimination, from harmful practices, from abuse. We are being abused day by day. And the greatest of the greatest abuse we suffer come from state actors.
So what kind of laws are you looking at?
We are looking at laws that is going to prohibit discrimination on the grounds of disability. You know, Section 15 and Section 42 of the Nigerian Constitution is silent on issues of discrimination on the grounds of disability. That is why if discrimination against people with disabilities is not justiciable in Nigeria. I don't know if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, but
because
but discrimination specific clause. But there's a law that talks about discrimination against citizens.
On the grounds of disability. So what that means is that if I'm discriminated from the workplace because I use prosthesis, I don't have hands, who will I complain to? The law says you will not be discriminated on the grounds of race, ethnicity, religion, and others. But it's silent on disability.
If others doesn't others cover disability?
Others didn't cover disability because disability is different from race. Disability issues is different from tribe. Disability is different from religious beliefs. Do you understand? Because disability is a situation that hinders you from participating on equal basis with others. That's what we're talking about. So if such factors affect you, you need to be protected by the state. And if the state refuses to protect you, you are vulnerable.
So that it doesn't look like is the government, I don't know how to put it, whether truly you've asked questions from the government, because if you say the government has tried to kill this particular bill, which you thought will be assented to towards the 2011 elections, until this very moment you haven't even seen anything. Has anyone reached out to the government to hear formally from them and not from the public hearing why this has not been assented to?
We've invited them for several meetings.
Who has been representing the government?
The Minister of Women Affairs. In fact, as of 2011, the former Minister for Women Affairs, Josephine Adeni, told us that they are going to assent to the bill. We are so excited waiting for the assent. Until suddenly we got another message that the decision of Mr. President on the bill is unsellable. That the bill must return back to the presidency, to the National Assembly.
If you really can avail the government of who that particular representative is, perhaps maybe that's not from the presidency, because it beats any Nigerian that a government would say, well, a bill that will protect the rights and privileges of people living with disabilities will not sail through.
My brother, look at the issue. There is procedure in legislative activities. If the National Assembly, both the House of Senate and the Rep, passes a law or passes a bill, the next thing will happen is harmonization. After harmonization, the bill will move to the Office of the Special Advisor to Mr. President on legislative matters. It will move straight to the presidency for assent after the Minister of Justice or the Minister of Justice have looked at the law, and if where there is grievances or recommendations they have to make, if it needs to go back, they will take it back. If he doesn't need to go back, they will encourage the president to assent to it. But in our own case, the disability bill was neither returned to the National Assembly or assented to. So who do you tell me that killed the bill? Is it not the presidency?
Well, that is why we have to talk about this, because watching that clip, except you're not human, getting to see people like yourself and so many others that are not as lucky as yourself, well, except you're not human, that is why you would sit pretty well and say you want to kill a bill. That is why it will be nice if we get to know those you've been talking to, because I still, as a Nigerian, don't want to believe that the presidency would sit pretty well and kill a bill that affects positively the lives of people living with disabilities in its own country.
It will be glad if you can contact the Minister of Women Affairs. Let them come to this podium and tell Nigerians why the bill was killed. Do you understand me? Because it is only here in Nigeria that people with disabilities are treated with disdain. You can't imagine that government policies, including this present administration policies, do not factor issues of disability in their work. So what that means is that if they are doing Shopee program, people with disabilities will not benefit from it. Because there is no law that compels them to include people with disabilities. So if you are alleviating poverty without mainstreaming disability in it, the poverty will continue to widen. Because
you know, the appointment of sorry to cut you there. The appointment of those who were asked to manage the Shopee funds. One is someone living with disabilities. So we thought he would be a good representative of the people living with disabilities in the country.
You see, sir, one thing is to appoint, and that thing is for the policy to address the issues of disability in its objective.
So you're talking about the legal backing.
That is what we are clamoring for. Where there is no legal framework that protects you, you remain vulnerable. Everything is charity.
And these issues were raised at the public hearing.
Of course, we raised the issue and we told them, without the commission, take your bill.
So,
without the commission, take your bill, because you can't go to the international community, Mr. President, telling the 66th section of the UN Assembly that he has signed and ratified the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, in which Article 25, compels him to create a commission.
So these functions must be carried out by a commission.
Exactly. Look at here in Lagos State. Let me give you an instance. We fought for disability law in Lagos State. And to the glory of God, Governor Fashola gave us one. And in that law, there is a provision for Office of Disability Affairs. In fact, that office has already been constituted. If Lagos State could do that, what stop the state? What stop the federal government?
So
as I speak to you, the Plateau State government have also constituted their own disability commission. What stop the federal government from constituting their own commission? Must we cry? Must we shout? Must we coerce? Must we abuse ourselves before government will know that we need to be protected?
So what kind of response came through from that public hearing when these issues were raised with these examples?
In fact, the National Assembly, especially the Senate, they appreciated our position. Because when the representative of the Federal Minister of Women Affairs told them that the reason why they don't want a commission is because there is going to be a competition of resources, that they will prefer strengthening of the rehabilitation department. Then the National Assembly, the senators asked him, why didn't you return the bill to the National Assembly for amendment? Why did you keep silent? There were other,
what was the response?
They were silent. There were other opinion leaders who came and told them, look, it is beyond rehabilitation. Disability is not about rehabilitation. It's about equal opportunity. It's about inclusion.
And I think that is why I think this should go beyond this program. But that is why it looks like some people that pretend to be working around the presidency are trying to actually scuttle some of this because it's about money. And the presidency or the executive arm wouldn't want to keep that because it wants to save money at the detriment of its citizens. So perhaps those people who came before the Senate to say they were trying to save money or not to come in conflict with any other department in the Ministry of Women Affairs should be actually invited.
It's important. It's important. You see, bulk of the reason why we've suffered so long is due to, the media minimal understanding about what we are undergoing. And I believe if the media take up our issue, the president will act fast. You know why? Disability He's not a respecter of person. He does not discriminate. The governor of Kogi State, when he had accident, I saw him on crutches. He was on crutches. We recall vividly when former Vice President Atiku Abubakar had a problem, he traveled abroad, he came back on crutches. If it be you, that you are not living with disability does not mean that you're immune. You're not immune. That's what we are saying, that if any individual in Nigeria is living with disability, he must be protected.
Okay, we're out of time, but even buildings, structures have got to be compliant with all of those as well. But we will not have time to focus on that. But thank you for coming on. David Anyele is the Executive Director, Center for Citizens with Disability.